According to the Mobile County District Attorney's Office, it's the first time the owners of a residential youth facility have been charged with felony child abuse here in Mobile County. Supporters of Saving Youth Foundation say the church-based operation is responsible for positive changes in the lives of children in its care. But the facility was shut down by DHR, and a police investigation led to criminal indictments that alleged dozens of kids were subjected to physical and emotional abuse for profit. More than 30 children, most of whom were brought here from out of state, were removed from Saving Youth Foundation in March when the Alabama Department of Human Resources shut down the facility amid allegations of abuse. John Young Jr., William Knott, and Alicia Moffitt were indicted by a Mobile County grand jury on 24 charges of aggravated abuse. The indictments allege children were kept in isolation for unreasonable periods of time, placed in unreasonable restraints, forced to do excessive exercise, and even denied prescription medication. The felony charges are new, but the allegations involving the church-based operation and the 3 defendants are not.
I was terrified at this point, and then I said, no, I won't, and then he hit me in the head the first time. And then he hit me in the head again after I stopped and surrendered.
That's what teenager Madison Litsky told Miami reporter Bob Norman in 2013. Litsky said Pastor Young hit her so hard in the face she almost passed out. Another teen, William Vargas, says he was attacked by William Knott when he couldn't keep up with the exercise.
So then after he finished choking me, he threw me on the floor. While I was on the floor, he punched me on the side of my head.
Those are just some of the allegations reported while the facility was located in Pritchard and called Restoration Youth Academy.
Punching them in the face, punching them in the stomach repeatedly. They would put them in isolation in their underwear and leave them for several days.
Michelle Simmons says she didn't find out about the alleged abuse until after she removed her 15-year-old son from the facility.
I just think that he was, afraid of what the consequences were going to be.
Simmons says her child's arm was broken by another teen at the boot camp. Simmons found out about the injury 3 weeks later when her son came home for a visit. The hospital report indicates the teenager said he didn't tell anyone until a few days earlier. But Simmons believes the staff at the boot camp knew about the injury.
What they would do is, if he acted up or did something, they would come and pull his arm or poke him in the arm for punishment.
As I stated, we intend to enter a plea of not guilty to all charges, and they've hired me for the representation of their defense in that regard.
Attorney Marcus Fox did not have much to say about the current charges against the 3 defendants. Young has repeatedly denied the allegations of abuse. This is what he told Fox 10 News shortly after police raided SYF in March.
I don't really blame the kids. They want their freedom. They want to go out and smoke their pot. They want to hang out in the streets. They want to get back to Facebook and everything. And a facility like this, it's a controlled environment.
Even though the facility is now shut down, church members say they still support their pastor and the former boot camp facility.
Because I know that the facility was run to help these children, hands down. Children would come here, they would come one way, they would leave differently.
I know he's putting forth every effort that he has, every resource he has available, and he's an awesome man of God.
These letters that you see, handwritten letters you see right here and others, were letters that were sneaked to me by the boys.
Former Pritchard Police Captain Charles Kennedy has been trying for years to bring attention to what he called a serious threat to children he discovered long before the boot camp changed its name and moved to Mobile.
And it was one of the most frustrating things I've had. I was a police officer for many, many years. And this is probably one of the most frustrating things I've ever dealt with in law enforcement.
Kennedy says he's glad the recent investigation has resulted in criminal indictments.
There's been this 3-year lack of action that finally something was done.
The 3 defendants are scheduled to go on trial in February. As I've shown you, Saving Youth Foundation is the new name for the same group that started out in Pritchard under another name, Restoration Youth Academy. It appears one of the defendants got his start with a teen boot camp in another state. I'll tell you more about that in our next half hour. This is the application that was filed in 2013 to establish the Saving Youth Foundation as a nonprofit corporation in Mobile. It's on file with probate court in Mobile and the Secretary of State in Montgomery. It's the only document I've been able to locate for the residential facility for troubled teens. And one of the SYF leaders recently indicted for alleged abuse was personally named in a federal lawsuit involving another boot camp facility in Mississippi. That was just before he came to the Alabama Gulf Coast to open up a similar business with the other two defendants.
He started choking me, picked me up from the floor, started choking me. He started stomping me on my back. I still have nightmares about it every day.
William Vargas told Miami television reporter Bob Norman he was beaten by drill instructor William Knott. The alleged abuse happened at the Christian-based facility that was then called Restoration Youth Academy.
There's consequences.
Knott has been the focus of complaints from other teens. It apparently started at another facility in Loosedale where Knott worked. The Bethel Boys' Home and the dormitories that once stood on this property are all gone now, but the people who live in this community still remember the controversial facility and its chief drill instructor.
Your bathrooms, shower houses, they had rec room, everything was built right here. We just tore all these slabs up back in the winter.
Lee Gibson says the Bethel Academy closed about 10 years ago. He doesn't know if the allegations of abuse were true, but he does remember the tough drill instructor.
They was kind of rough on.
Another neighbor, Donnie Berry, says kids often ran away from the home. Sometimes they ran to nearby homes, including his.
Just want somebody to help them, you know. That guy was mean to him, you know, but you couldn't get involved with it, you know, personally. You couldn't get involved.
The allegations in Mississippi resulted in a federal lawsuit against the academy and William Knott. In 2006, a judge issued a $900,000 judgment for the boy, who, according to the civil complaint, was the victim of torture. A few years later, Knott, along with John Young, opened RYA in Pritchard. The operation moved to Mobile in 2013. Mobile County Health Department officials say the owners never received the required clearance from the health department to serve food. There is no city license on file for SYF. City officials say the facility would not need a license if it was under DHR, for example. But DHR says SYF was not affiliated with the state agency, and in fact, it was DHR that shut it down and removed the children in March. While the workers at state-run facilities are licensed and accredited, Young told a Miami station that didn't apply to his business.
Because we are a Christian-based program, that we're not required to have state license with our program.
But a state official told me even church-run facilities are required to file for exemption, which according to the State Department of Revenue, SYF has not done. I also checked with the IRS, which says it has no record of exemption for the business.
I thought I was doing the right thing for him, you know.
Michelle Simmons says she paid more than $1,000 a month to keep her son in the facility's care. She says she didn't find out about the alleged abuse until she took him out last year.
I had no inclination that anything was amiss there.
But Lakeisha Peters says the allegations have not shaken her faith in Saving Youth Foundation or its pastor, who is now charged with abuse along with two others. Peters says one of the teens has been back since SYF was shut down.
But he came back to tell Bishop Young what an impact he made on his life, like on a Tuesday night Bible study, not just on Sunday. So he came on a Tuesday, he came back on a Sunday. I mean, we've seen him ever since then.
John Young, William Knott, and Alicia Moffitt are all scheduled to go on trial in February. The teen residential facility that was shut down here is not the only one to come under criticism in the country. Tomorrow, I'll tell you what's being done in other areas to protect children from potential institutional abuse. The allegations that led to the indictments and arrest of 3 people in Mobile this year are similar to allegations that have been brought against other institutions over the years. Some of those closest to the issue are trying to get lawmakers to take notice. The recent indictments and arrest of 3 people in Mobile charged with abuse at a church-run residential facility for troubled teens is being followed by a group on the other side of the country. Jody Hobbs started the organization Survivors of Institutional Abuse. She says it's something she knows about personally.
I myself was sent to a reform school that was raided and shut down by the FBI in 1991.
Hobbs says institutional abuse is a nationwide problem.
They're not qualified nor trained, don't have a degree or license to use this behavior modification method. And a lot of times it's misused and then it turns into severe trauma and psychological abuse.
Saving Youth Foundation, which was formerly Restoration Youth Academy, was shut down in March amid allegations of abuse. Not everyone believes the charges.
And all this will soon blow over. And I believe that, God already has it worked out.
But some teens were making allegations against the facility long before its owners were arrested.
I was terrified at this point. And then I said, no, I won't. And then he hit me in the head.
I witnessed a boy getting beat by William.
To me, this is more important to me than my pension, because this had to do with the lives and safety of children.
Former Pritchard Police Captain Charles Kennedy says he's been trying to expose the facility for years.
No axe to grind against boot camps, church-run operations, or church-run residential schools if they are run under supervision. We know who is there, who is operating.
Legislation was introduced in Congress this summer to address the issue. Hobbs wants citizens to contact their representatives to voice their support.
It would require them to have licensure. It would require them to have skilled staff, educated staff. It would require them to have a therapist, a licensed therapist present.
But Alabama Congressman Bradley Byrne doesn't believe it's an issue for Congress.
Well, I think that we already have laws in the book at the state level to make sure that if somebody abuses a young person, that they're prosecuted to the full extent of the law. So I would expect us to enforce existing state law. I don't know that this is an area where the federal government should get involved.
Byrne says similar legislation has failed in the past. When SYF was shut down earlier this year, owner John Young denied allegations of abuse and defended his co-owners, including William Knott.
He used to be a Marine drill sergeant. And so he have a way of really trying to get boys' minds back in line. People can make allegations about something, but if it's true and charges are brought against it, you'll go to jail.
Young, Knott, and Alicia Moffitt are all now charged with aggravated abuse, and they have all pleaded not guilty. The 3 defendants are scheduled to go on trial in February 2016.